Welcome to the Tahoe Financial Highlights Report for July 2011. This is Mike Salmon, the Director of Finance and Accounting for Tahoe Association. Thanks for watching this presentation. The month of July is a peak summer month for the association. Just as a bit of information, the operating revenues of the association are a little over $8 million, and that's split about 50-50 between winter and summer operations. So for the month of July, revenues were slightly 2% off of budget and slightly ahead of last year due to Lodge and Marina's strong performance. They actually beat last year. Revenues were 2% below budget as well, for a net operating result of $150,000 loss, which was on budget. Month of July's revenues. The Lodge of $225,000 in revenues set a new record for one single month in revenues, and net operating results at the Lodge were also a record for the month. They were 10% ahead of budget and 17% over last year. Golf has a lack of momentum due to the delayed start of the season, and ended up 3% off of budget. They were flat to last year, just slightly below last year, July, but the momentum is not there due to the record winter snowfall, primarily. The Marina had an outstanding month with revenues $28,000 or 18% over budget and 15% ahead of last year. Trout Creek Aquatics were slightly ahead of budget, but slightly behind last year. Pizza had a record revenue month for any single month of $61,000, and they also set a record NOR result. So they were 13% over budget and 17% ahead of last year. That operation continues to show improvement month to month over the last 12 to 24 months. Equestrian, due to the delayed start of the season, is definitely off of budget and was on flat with last year. Continuing with revenues, tennis, a little off budget, but 7% ahead of last year. Day camps had a strong month. Summer food and beverage, which is our Marco Polo grill at Trout Creek, lunches at the Lodge, the food and beverage golf cart service, and the snack bar for the golfers, was 3% off of budget and 2% off of last year. Campground, $16,000 off of budget, flat to last year. The recreation operations had budgeted a concert for $50,000 in July. That concert actually occurred. The Robert Cray Band actually occurred in August. So there's a timing delay here, and then that was slightly offset by bike rental revenues, which were not a budgeted line item. The homeowner association revenues of $42,000 were $31,000 off of budget, and that's due primarily to the forestry grant work was delayed this summer, and that should be made up in upcoming months of the summer. On the expense side, there was, because the grant work did not occur in forestry, there was savings in cost at forestry, and then there was timing differences just in the amount of work being done month to month over the course of the season this year to last, which drives that variance to prior year. Golf had overruns into budget and last year, primarily due to timing in just work on the course to get it ready, and that work was obviously delayed this year compared to last. There was some water savings in utilities due to how wet the course was. The recreation department had savings as well due to the concert delay. The Lodge had increase in expenses over last year due to the increase in volume and revenues. On a ratio basis, these increases are in alignment, and again, the Lodge did have net operating result record for the month. Maintenance had savings to budget and last year. Those were timing in nature primarily. Payroll burdens, with some payroll savings, we also had the payroll taxes, workers' comp, and health insurance savings. We also have positions budgeted to be on benefits that are either vacant or they have not elected benefits that are driving savings in health insurance cost. The incentive accrual was $12,000 this month. Without that accrual, savings would have been $42,000 in the month for a 3% variance to budget instead of 2%. So there's about $74,000 in incentive accrual for the summer that potentially will reverse and would allow the results for the summer to stay on budget if necessary. So that's it for the month of July. July again was on budget, 1%, $1,000, 1%, and these are just summaries of previous slides information. So summer to date, we are actually on budget. A lot of that is driven $1,362,000 loss, which is on budget and slightly ahead of last year. And we're 3 of 6 months into the halfway through the summer season. The delayed start of operations and lack of golf revenues have been offset by strong marina and lodge performance primarily. And then there's timing expense savings that could drive this figure closer to budget in future summer months. And if that occurs, we will relieve the incentive accrual. Year-to-date July is also on budget, with revenues slightly below budget and expenses slightly below budget. This is a summary of the year-to-date variances versus budget and versus last year. The expense increase of 3% drives a $251,000 versus last year negative variance to NOR, and because the expense side of the equation is larger than the revenue side, these numbers add up, and this is by component the increases in as compared to last year. This gives you a snapshot of variances by month in revenue, expense, and NOR. Pizza on the Hill, slightly underrunning to budget, negatively. July certainly helped this figure, and August looks very good as well. The Northwoods Pool is aquatics, and their programs were impacted as well by the delayed start of summer. Trout Creek is ahead year to date. Recreation has a negative variance that should swing closer to a net operating result of close to zero variance after August. The recreation is negatively impacted by the startup costs of the bike rental operation, which had just some startup cost, a few $1,000s that will negatively impact the recreation department. Day camps are going well. There's favorable savings in general and vehicle maintenance some of that's timings. We did not anticipate that running negative. And downhill ski, we had great conditions, but a little bit too much snow, and their net results are just right at budget, slightly under budget year to date. This chart shows covers for several years by month for the lodge, and other than last month, June, right here, they've had about 24 months of solid increases year over year, month to month, and they set a new record in the month of July with 6,435 covers. Other important information in the financials is the assessment receivables. There's 115 units out of the 6,471, or 1.8%, that have not paid their annual assessment this year. That's down from last year. 129 units had not paid their annual assessment. Recreation fees, the rec fee pass, we sold 3,806 of those, or 59% of the 6,471 units. That's up 3% over last year. Capital fund balances. Replacement reserve is close to about 6.3 million, and this number this green bar will come down as we're entering a big spend period in these summer months and into the fall of our planned replacement reserve expenditures. The new machinery or equipment fund is spending according to budget. The development fund regular is down. We drew down on that to purchase the McClashin Springs property in this year. And replacement reserve building replacement reserve funds are up due to the contribution this year and has not been spent yet. And recreational amenity expansion restricted funds, the RAE funds, are increasing slightly due to the interest income, as nominal as it is, a little over $3 million. Quick flash on August, down 19% through the 18th. I'm sorry, 19,000 or 3% under budget through the 18th. And golf is underperforming to budget and flat to prior year. Forestry grant revenues will help, are not factored in this figure, and will help offset this negative amount. There will be costs associated with that, though, on the cost side. Pizza on the Hill continues to perform very well. The lodge is performing well on individual diners. It is performing. The lodge is behind in a big month, August, for banquets. Banquets are not performing as anticipated or as budgeted in the month of August. Payroll is running slightly over budget. We had the concert in August, which wasn't planned. It was planned in July, so there's an overrun in August. Forestry timing and a little bit of bike rental operations, all those add up and are the primary reasons for the payroll overrun month to date. Thank you for viewing this presentation, and the full month packet for the month of July, as well as the annual report and budget reports, can be found at this website, www.tahoedonner.com, member financials. And you can always give me a call or shoot me an email if you have any further questions. Thank you for viewing. Have a great day.